長瀞はどうなんだよ。お願い。
私のお願いは、先輩のお嫁さんになれますようにって。
何を
Forming lies as easily as she draws breath.
Yeah. This is the best episode of the season yet. Season 2 of Nagatoro brought us a lot of things. 2 new banger hits, more wholesomeness than my heart could handle, my future mommy, and sadly an obvious drop in production quality. But I'm not here to talk about all of that. I'm here to tell why episode 6 is the best episode this season gave us. This season is the best season to hop on the Nagatoro train if you're not already watching the show, and are reading the manga, and have all volumes at home, and read all the fanfictions out there, and joined the great church of Nagatoro supremacy. Anyways, this is the season Ichi Ranaide Nagatoro-san is finally gonna break free from being viewed as a sadomasochistic etching show made for the pleasure of sick fucks who want to be stepped on, and finally be seen as the wholesome slice of life romance etching show made for sick fucks who want to be stepped on it is. And that is all thanks to the best arcs in the manga getting adapted this season, and beautifully adapted they are. It just goes to show how animation can turn the feels of a scene up to 11 in a way a still image never could. I mean, add a little music, some solid voice acting, and some movement to a scene and you go from this to this. And in the department of how it adapted the manga into animation is where episode 6 outshines the rest of the season. And it's not like I think the rest of the season isn't adapted well. It's great! But I feel that episode 6 had some great ways to take already great panels from the manga and make them even greater. Take for example how they rearranged the chapters. In the manga you get to see the scene where Nagatoro asks her sister for gift advice after the Christmas chapter. But in the anime, you get to see it before the Christmas chapter. It's a small change, but this way the viewer goes in watching the Christmas chapter knowing how much he wants to celebrate Christmas Eve with Senpai. It just makes the whole build-up towards the climax of the chapter even more wholesome and sweet. And talking about the climax, did they nail it with this chapter? So Nagatoro and Senpai finally get to the rooftop thinking they'd get some privacy and will finally be able to exchange gifts. Only to walk in on the loudest smooch party anime has ever seen. And it looks like their plan failed. For all their trying, they won't get their romantic Christmas Eve. And in the manga their reaction looks like this. And they translated that into this. Now, I'm not saying they made major changes, but what they did do was change the perspective a bit from diagonally behind her to her side profile. And this allows us to see a little more of her face. So I ask you, in which one of these do you see more emotion in her face? This one, right? And because of that, it makes her look a bit more sad, a bit more disappointed than in the manga. Which makes it even more emotional when Senpai decides to turn into Chat Pie and gives her the gift in spite of the lack of privacy. Which is followed by my favorite scene in this episode. I need to find myself a new heart, cause mine just melted. Next up is the New Year's chapter. And first off I just want to say I love the job Senpai's VA is doing this entire season. Especially when he delivers a goofy line or sound. And I have to admit, I don't find a lot of comedy in anime funny. But every time Senpai does another I crack up a little. So after Senpai waits around like a stalker, him and Nagatoro visit the shrine. And yet again Senpai decides to turn into Giga Chat and gives us this line.
神頼みじゃなくて自分で頑張るべきかと。
They grow up so fast. Anyways, at the end of the episode we get the scene where Nagatoro tells Senpai she wished to become his bride. Only to tell him it was a joke a few seconds later. And here we have another example of how anime adds something in its adaptation of the source material. And in this case it's all thanks to the beautiful delivery of Nagatoro's VA, which really sells towards the viewer she was in fact not joking.
私のお願いは先輩のお嫁さんになれますようにって。
It's just another one of those small details you won't get out of a still image. And with that another episode comes to a close. And I got the feeling it will only get better with each episode. And with still 6 episodes to go, we are in for a lot more teasing, a lot more wholesomeness, and a whole lot of more
先輩